All right, so the next step within this Magic 8-Ball class, I've got the init function, does its thing. Now I'm going to inform the Magic 8-Ball class the bulk of its work. And I'm going to create another method here. It's going to be a private method, one that the user won't access directly, but it'll be utilized within the class itself, that does all the game time decisions and all the runtime stuff within the game. So this is going to be a little bit bigger one. I'm going to get my big fat head out of the way here. That way you can just focus on the screen. And let's take a look at creating this next little method here. So it's still going to be within my class. So I'm going to define a new method here. And I'm going to call this, remember it's going to be private. The users aren't going to access it directly. But I'll call it start_game. And it's going to take one thing. It's just going to reference self. All right. Now, the first thing that's going to happen in here, this is the user creates an instance of the Magic 8-Ball class. They pass in their name. And then we want this start game method to fire. We want it to start running so they can start playing the game and asking questions and getting responses and such. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to initialize all the proper responses, right? So we'll call this mResponse, and I'm going to make it equal to a list. And this is going to be a list of all the questions in there, or excuse me, all the proper responses. So it is certain, let's see, oops. What's another one in there? You may rely on it. That's that one, right? And so on. As I see it. That was another one, wasn't it? I forgot my quotes there. And so on. You can continue that list. There's 8 proper responses. Just so you don't have to watch me type, I'm going to stick with just the 3 for right now, but I'll finish that off here shortly. But we've got the variable in there that just contains the random responses that will be feeding back to the user, all contained within a list type. Now, next thing I'm going to do is create another variable here. We'll call it lQuestions. This is going to be our loop condition, and I'm just going to set it to true. All right, next thing I want to do is I'm going to print out, user runs this, right away they create an instance of the class and it's going to ask them for their name. So now I want to welcome them to the game. We'll just print out a simple message here. We'll say welcome, and I'm going to get access to the name. So I'll get self.__name, and then we'll just say, hey, welcome Kyle, welcome Julie, welcome so on and so on, right? All right, and then the next thing it's going to do is it's going to perform the loop. So I'll say while questions, and remember questions is a continuous loop, because back up here, questions is equal to true. And you're going to find that we never changed that to false. So this part here is just always going to run, right? It's always going to be true, so the loop will continue doing its thing. But we'll exit out of it within some condition based on user input from the questions, right? Questions and responses. So now within my loop, I'm going to create another variable. We'll call it mQuest, and I'm going to make this equal to the input from the user. So I'll say, please enter a question. And we can put some additional information in there. We can say something like to exit, press enter, whatever. But for now, I'll keep it simple and just, hey, you want a question? Put it in there. All right, now they input a question. What's the next thing the game should do? Well, remember this is on a loop, right? So the user gets prompt for a question, they type it in, and then we run the magic that spits out a response from one of these mResponse canned responses. So now I'll say, let's see, we'll call it mRespond equals mResponse. That was that variable that I created earlier that's got all of those entries, right? And well, which one do I want to return? Well, I'm going to make it random. So this is where we'll take advantage of importing that random module to get access to that. And we'll say rand_int, and we're going to go from 0 to 7. Remember, this is 0 based, and there's going to be 8 entries inside of there. All right, so we got the loop running. We'll prompt them for a question, and then we'll give them back a response. Well, actually, this is just picking a response, right? But we need to be able to output that response as well. Well, we need to build some logic in here. So we'll say if mQuest That's where we prompt the user, right? If that is equal to nothing, well, they just hit their enter key. Then I'm going to print out a message and just say, thank you for playing, yada, 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 right? Excuse me. And then we will exit the system. So sys exit, and that's good right there. All right, now, but if they enter a proper question, then we'll print out the and respond results. Spell that correctly. We'll print that out for them. And I think that's good. So we've got the new method here. It's private, start game. It takes the self argument in there. We come up with the proper responses for them to choose from. We turn on the loop, right? L questions. It's going to be that continuous loop. We've got the print welcome. Hey, welcome to the game. Thank you for joining us, so on and so on. And then we ask them for some questions within the loop. So, hey, start asking your questions, pick a proper response, and then based on a little bit of logic in there, well, if they don't do anything, they just hit their enter key, then we'll thank them for playing, then we'll exit the game. But if they do type in a proper response, something other than empty, then we'll give them the proper response or the random response, all based on the random int 0 to 7. So that's the beginning of the start game. That's the one that's just going to do the bulk of the work, run the loop, get the game running, and so on. Do all the logic right there. So take a look at that, compare it to what you've got, whatever you need to do there, and then we'll jump into the next section, and we're going to continue elaborating a bit more here. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and let's take a look at the next lecture.